The nation's capital, Monrovia. Good evening and welcome to King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest afterward. Today is a Wednesday, February 25th, 2025. 2026. I'm Newton Tokwa presenting stories we follow in this evening. Over 12,000 students graduated from the University of Liberia during 105th graduation on Wednesday. UL President Dr. Lily Mapayan urges graduates to use acquired education and impact national development drive. Former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf calls for incorporation of anti-corruption education into primary and secondary school curricula to promote public awareness and strengthen national efforts in combating corruption. The Congress for Democratic Change National Executive Committee suspends United States branch interim leadership for gross insubordination, violation of party protocol, and detrimental actions, says an parallel convention in Minnesota will be rendered illegal. Away from Liberia, Zimbabwe has rejected a U.S. health deal that would have provided 367 million and funded over 5 years because of Washington's demand for sensitive data. UN Security Council has announced new sanctions for 4 leaders of Sudan's paramilitary support forces over atrocities committed in the western Sudanese city of El Fasher. These plus the news bulletin, our international development, our package. We are taking a very short break to be right back. Thanks for joining us at this juncture. We cross over to Marvin Va with the news bulletin.
The University of Liberia has graduated over 12,000 students during its 105th graduation on Wednesday. Speaking during the ceremony, UL President Dr. Leah McPine called on graduates to demonstrate excellence in their respective disciplines to reflect the university's reputation and contribute meaningfully to national development. She emphasized that critical role of education in nation building. Dr. Mapayan further encouraged the undergraduate to apply knowledge and skills acquired throughout their academic journey to address society challenges and drive positive change that's changed across Liberia and beyond. Former Liberian President Eddie Johnson Sirleaf has called on education stakeholders to urgently incorporate anti-corruption education into primary and secondary school curriculum across the country. She described the initiative as means of bonding students' understanding of the effect and consequences of corruption, especially its impact on governance and national development. The former Liberian president restrained her long-standing position on corruption, indicating that corruption remains a major challenge to Liberia society, a concern she previously described as the country's public enemy number one during her administration. The Congress for Democratic Change Executive Committee has announced the suspension of its United States branch entire interim leadership due to grass subordinations, violation of party's protocols, and actions deemed to the party's unity. A resolution signed by CDC's acting global chairman Janka Kwe described the decision was reached during an emergency NEC session held in February 22, 2026 at the party's temporary national headquarters in Sinko. The suspension that's suspended with immediate effect, including Yahali Talata Salif, CDC USA interim chairman, whose earlier suspension was reframed. Daniel Gapley, Tolly, acting chairman, and several other senior officials of the branch. CDC NEC also announced the suspension of two chapter leaders in Minnesota and Lowell due to their alleged involvement in actions that undermines the party's authority. At the same time, the executive committee of the party have declared an fellow conventions, including a report gathering band organized in Minnesota as illegal, null or void, stating the controversy stemmed from what the NEC described as a prolonged administrative impasse within CDC USA. According to the resolution, the interim leadership allegedly refused to submit a agreed electoral roadmap, declined to attend NEC meeting, and challenged the authority to the party highest decision-making body, also the National Congress. The police, that's the Liberia National Police Nima County Detachment has forwarded to court Mary Gue, a 61-year-old woman accused of killing her three grandchildren in Malawitan, Nima County. The incident, which reportedly occurred on Sunday, February 22, 2026, has sparked widespread public outrage, with several residents of the community, including the victims' mothers, attributing the act of alleged witchcraft activities. In a statement issued on Wednesday, the LMP disclosed that the suspected admitted to causing the death of the three men following a police investigation into the matters. According to the statement, the accused reportedly claimed that her action was influenced by a demonic spirit. The police follow assured the public that the matter is being handled with utmost seriousness and the justice will be pursued in accordance with the rule of law. In another development, the Liberia National Police had launched an investigation into a alleged attempted rape involving one of its officers assigned to the Grand Baza Police Detachment. According to LNP, the incident was formally reported on Tuesday, February 24, to its professional standard department and the Women and Children Protection Section at the Grand Baza Detachment. Speaking Wednesday at the LNP headquarters, police spokesperson Sam Collins disclosed that investigation is being conducted in line with established law, regulation, and internal accountability standard. He noted that the accused officer, whose identity is being withheld, is currently undergoing internal administrative review pending the outcome of the investigation. Collins emphasized that as the investigation remains ongoing, the officer is pursued innocent until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. Former Moserato County District 13 Representative Kennedy Ajobai Suare has formally announced his membership in the Congress for Democratic Change. Remarking at the disclosure Wednesday on King's FM, Suare noted that his decision was followed but an official communication addressed to CDC Secretary General Jefferson Koji, declaring his intention to join the former ruling party. According to him, the move forward does follow careful consideration and reflect his long-standing commitment to national development, democratic governance, and the provision of public trust. He further praised the CDC for what he described as its history as a people-centered political institution, emphasizing that it operates as a party of the people, by the people and for the people. Sari also pledged his full commitment to collaborating with fellow partisans in support to identify, thus intensify, the re-election bid of former President George Weah, and stressed the importance of CDC return to power in 2029, vowing the spearhead intensive recruitment effort aimed at strengthening the party's numerical base ahead of the election. The Grand Old Chewing Party has officially written the National Election Commission requesting to hold its 37th National Convention and the elections of a new Corps of Officers in Buchanan Grand Bassa County beginning April 30th of this year. The Chewing Party political leader Eric Olson disclosed that the decision to write a new letter to any seat for a new date for the party's national convention followed the abortive gathering because of confusion regarding to the delegates. Addressing a press conference held in Monrovia, Olson added that the issue that aborted the February 14 national conference had been resolved. According to him, the Goodrich has also been informed of the development unfolding regarding the selection of delegates in order to hold a peaceful national convention. The Chewing Party political leader expressed the hope that the National Convention Committee will be given the free will to conduct the convention and hold the election for the new Corps of Officer. About 60 students from Islamic school across the country are expected to converge for the 9th edition of the Liberia National Ironic Competition in Monrovia. A board member of the Liberia National Ironic Competition, Alpha Jallo, disclosed that the first place winner will be awarded 1,500 United States dollars. Speaking at the press conference held in Monrovia Wednesday, Jallo explained that the competition also has other prizes, including scholarship and other cash awards. He added that the competition is intended to encourage excellence among the students, promote higher standard of education and professionalism among others. According to him, the competition will begin this Friday, will last for 3 days and will begin a permanent Islamic scholars and Muslim to the opening of closing ceremony.
Marvin Var with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular featured here on King's Newsburn. What if you just joining us? A reminder, you're listening to King's Newsburn, 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest afterward. Today is Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. I'm Newton Topa presenting stories we're following this evening. Over 12,000 students graduated from the University of Liberia during 105th graduation on Wednesday. UF President Dr. Lady McQueen urges graduates to use the acquired education and impact national development drive. Former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf calls for the incorporation of anti-corruption education in primary and secondary school curricula to promote public awareness and strengthen national efforts in combating corruption. Congress for Democratic Change National Executive Committee suspends the United States branch interim leadership for gross insubordination, violation of the party's protocol, and detrimental actions, says the parallel convention in Minnesota will be rendered illegal. And away from Liberia, Zimbabwe has rejected a U.S. health deal that would have provided 367 million in funding over 5 years because of Washington's demand for sensitive data. And the UN Security Council has announced new sanctions for 4 leaders of Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces over atrocities committed in the western Sudanese city of El Fasher. These are stories will follow me here this evening on King's News Broom. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you the voices of the newsmakers. Thanks for rejoining. On this development now, the University of Liberia has graduated over 12,000 students during its 105th graduation on Wednesday. Speaking during the ceremony, UWA President Dr. Lilima Payan called on graduates to demonstrate excellence in their respective disciplines to reflect the university's reputation and contribute meaningfully to national development. She emphasized the critical role of education in nation building. Dr. Mapayan further encouraged the graduates to apply knowledge and skills acquired through their academic journey to address societal challenges and drive positive changes across Liberia and beyond.
All 1,255 of you are my diamonds. When I arrived at UL just over inaugurations that each of them enrich in gems, you. I talked about how education would polish and refine those gems. Now, here we are at the end of your academic journey, and you have become shining diamonds. Diamonds, they say, are forged from 3 essential forces: pressure, heat, and time. They start out as pure carbon deep beneath the earth. Over time, subjected to intense heat and intense pressure, their structure changes from one form to another, and they become the hardest known material on earth. Unbreakable, brilliant, of great worth. I've watched you. You've experienced pressure, the pressure of grades, the pressure of completing research, financial pressures, family pressures, work pressures, health scares, the pressure of no data, the pressure of no transportation, and even other kinds of pressures, and you know what they are. You've also experienced heat, the heat of deadlines, the heat of class disruptions, the heat of the student handbook, the heat of graduation clearance, and even the literal heat of the Liberian sun, too little air cool in our classroom. And you've spent time, some of you a long time, getting your education at UL, long enough for you to finally become diamonds. Diamonds, I am proud of you. I am in admiration of you. You are the first to graduate on my watch, and that makes you precious to me. You are special people at a special time, my precious class of triumph. Triumphs you have. The road has been rough, and the journey has been challenging. But through the unique grace and mercy of the Almighty God, you have made it as students at the University of Liberia. And like the national anthem says, you have over all prevailed. Let me encourage all 1,255 of you as you go out today to brilliantly shine and represent your alma mater to the fullest and best of your ability. We who have formed you are proud to send you out in your respective field with the recognition and respect attached to your UL degree. You in the wider Liberian society and the world, and may you always be that shining light.
She's University of Liberia President Dr. Lady Mapayon, they're speaking. Former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has called on education stakeholders to urgently incorporate anti-corruption education into primary and secondary school curricula across the country. She described the initiative as means of broadening students' understanding on the effects and consequences of corruption, particularly its impact on governance and national development. The former Liberian leader reiterated her long-standing position on corruption, indicating that corruption remains a major challenge to Liberian society, a concern she previously described as the country's public enemy number one during her administration.
You also have to start teaching in the schools. You have to talk in all the different community meetings. You have to tell people the consequences of corruption, why our country is not developed, why people will take money from Liberia to do other things, to buy homes abroad and whatnot, and use the Liberian people, the money that they pay is something that we have to keep fighting it at all levels and hope that everybody feel that they have a responsibility if they want this country to be in the shape and at the stage of development that they all call for and that they all want to see.
Former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. The Liberian National Police had launched an investigation into an alleged attempted rape involving one of its officers assigned to the Grand Bassa County Police Detachment. According to the LMP, the incident was formally reported on Tuesday, February 24th, through its Professional Standards Department and the Women and Children Protection Section at the Grand Bassa County Detachment. Speaking Wednesday at the LMP headquarters, police spokesman Sam Collins disclosed that investigation is being conducted in line with the established laws, regulations, and internal accountability standards. He noted that the accused officer, whose identity is being withheld, is currently undergoing internal administrative review pending the outcome of the investigation. Collins emphasized that as the investigation remains ongoing, the officer is presumed innocent until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction.
The Liberian National Police confirms that it is investigating an allegation of attempted rape involving an officer assigned to the Grand Bassa County Police Detachment. The allegation was formally reported on Tuesday, February 24, 2026, through the Professional Standards Department and the Women and Children Protection Section at the Grand Bassa County Police Detachment. Upon receipt of the complaint, the Liberian National Police immediately initiated both administrative and criminal investigative procedures in accordance with established laws, regulations, and internal accountability standards. The officer concerned is currently subject to internal administrative review pending the outcome of the investigation. A preliminary investigation is underway to determine the facts and circumstances surrounding the allegation. The identity of the complainant is being withheld in keeping with legal and victim protection standards. The Liberian National Police emphasizes that the allegation remains under investigation and that the officer is presumed innocent unless and until proven otherwise by a court of competent jurisdiction. The NP meetings is zero tolerant policy towards misconduct, particularly the matters involving sexual and gender-based violence, abuse of authority, or violation of human rights. Any officer seen to have engaged in criminal, unethical, or STBV-related conduct will face the full weight of the law in addition to internal disciplinary measures. The Liberian National Police assures the public that this matter is being handled impartially, professionally, and without interference. Members of the public are encouraged to remain calm and allow the investigative process to proceed. Further update will be provided as appropriate in accordance with the law.
He's police spokesperson Sam Collins. They're speaking. Former Moserada County District 13 Representative candidate Ayuba Swari has formally announced his membership for the Congress for Democratic Change, remarking On Wednesday to Kings FM, Suarez noted that his decision was followed by an official communication address to CDC Secretary General Jefferson Koji, declaring his intention to join the former ruling party. According to him, the move followed careful consideration and reflects a long-standing commitment to national development, democratic governance, and the preservation of public trust, and further praised the CDC for what he described as its history as a people-centered political institution, emphasizing that it operates as a party of the people, by the people, and for the people.
So as you saw on my social media post, what I posted was not just an announcement; it was a formal communication written, and that communication has been sent to the Secretary General of the party. And I can tell you, I've received calls from two important party executives. I'm going to reach out to every person that I know who have not been a part of the CDC to give them reasons why they must come to the CDC. And I'm going to work along with the party executive to ensure that we reach to stakeholders within my community, within my constituents. To ensure we talk to them names that will add more weight to the Congress for Democratic Change. These are things we intend to do, okay? And we are also intending to work with the party in other directions that might not be discussed, on the media. Some of those things will be decided by the party executive, but yes, we are going to work with them in every form and manner possible. Opinions are like noses, and everyone has one. That's their opinion. Is that the fight? No. Do they have the authority to decide who becomes president? No. Are they the only eligible voters in Liberia? No. These are scary tactics. These are, tactics are used to weaken seditions. But hey, we are going to ensure
He's former Monserrate County District Titan Representative Canada Ayoba Suarez speaking. What if you just joining us with the time have passed the hour of reminder? You're listening to King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest afterward. Today is Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. I'm Newton Tokwa presenting stories we're following this evening. Over 12,000 students graduated from the University of Liberia during the 105th graduation on Wednesday. UL President Dr. Lili Mapayan urges graduates to use acquired education and impact national development drive. Former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf calls for the incorporation of anti-corruption education into primary and secondary school curricula to promote public awareness and strengthen national efforts in combating corruption. The Congress for Democratic Change National Executive Committee suspends United States branch interim leadership of gross insubordination, violation of party protocol, and detrimental action, says the parallel convention in Minnesota will be rendered illegal. Away from Liberia, Zimbabwe has rejected a U.S. help deal that was provided $367 million in funding over 5 years because of Washington's demand for sensitive data. The UN Security Council has announced a new sanctions for 4 leaders of Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces over atrocities committed in the western Sudanese city of El Fasher. These are stories we're following here this evening on King's Newsroom. We are taking another short break. When we come back, we continue with more voices on the program. Thanks for rejoining. On this development now, Magui County Superintendent O.J. Murray has delivered his monthly performance report outlining progress and challenges encountered since assuming office. In his address, Superintendent Murray stated that his administration has made notable strides in key sectors, including education, healthcare, and the promotion of peace and stability across the country. He emphasized that within his first 6 months in office, efforts have been made to strengthen service delivery and improve living conditions for residents.
One of the greatest challenges that we have and we keep experiencing is a challenge to reconcile Margibi County. Margibi County is a county that is administratively and politically centralized. The challenges we list here, we say reconciliation is starting up in Margibi County. The stakeholders in Margibi County, former lawmakers and current lawmakers, they are not teaming up. Former superintendent and current superintendent, they are not teaming up. Former mayor, current mayor, they are not teaming up. Former leaders and current leaders are not teaming up. Citizens against citizens. Youth against youth. Adults against adults. What is the problem? Why are we fighting when we all say Margibi is our goal? We believe the division say now is because of the lack of unity and reconciliation among us. The toxic politics that just ended, it caused a massive division in our midst. Where you have sedition, you have UPS, you have the other group of LP, but at the end of the day, one party won. Now it is now time to push the Margibi agenda above any personality agenda.
His Margibi County Superintendent O.J. Morris there speaking. The Grand Ochu Wind Party has officially written the National Elections Commission requesting to hold its 37th National Convention and the elections of new corps of officers in Buchanan Grand Bassa County beginning April 30 of this year. TWP's political leader Eric Olson disclosed that the decision to write a letter to the NEC for a new date for the party's national convention followed the abruptive gathering because of confusion regarding the delegates. Addressing a press conference held in Monrovia, Olson added that issues that aborted the February 14 national conference had been resolved.
We have solicited some professionals to join us. We will be reaching to Mr. Goodrich so that we can schedule the completion of our 37th annual convention. We rating NEC to let her know what happened at Buchanan, and we asked for them to endorse a date for April 30th to be our final date to complete our 37th annual convention. So that's why I thought it wise to let everyone know that irrespective of what you see happening, True Party will continue to be a beacon of hope, will continue to lead a political life that will show respect for human rights, respect for other opinions, democracy, and the rule of law, because we've come a long way when it comes to fighting. From 1979 and even beyond, we've been fighting. So we're not strange to it. However, True Party has to be the one that brings us together. No matter where you're from, no matter your political affiliation, your religious affiliation, your ethnic background, you can always, and you are always welcome to the True Party, because we want to create a nation where the only way we can achieve higher heights is by ensuring that there is the total involvement of all of our citizens.
He's the True Party political leader, Eric Olson, there speaking. About 60 students from Islamic schools across the country are expected to converge for the 9th edition of the Liberian National Quranic Competition in Monrovia. The board member of the National Quranic Competition, Alpha Jallo, disclosed that the first place winner will be awarded $1,500 United States dollars. Speaking at the press conference held in Monrovia Wednesday, Jallo explained that the competition also has other prizes, including scholarships and other cash awards.
The United Alma of Liberia is proud to announce the 9th edition of the National Quranic Competition, scheduled to take place from February 27 to March 1, 2026. The National Quranic Competition underwent a preliminary competition with 134 students registered, and 130 successfully took part. 60 students qualified based on merit in all 5 categories. This preliminary event served as a platform for inspiration, faith, and youth empowerment, celebrating the dedication of young scholars from across the country. The 3-day event will be hosted in 2 primary locations in Monrovia. Day 1 and Day 3, Friday, February 27 and Saturday, February 28. The competition commences with an opening ceremony and preliminary rounds at the 17th Street Mosque. Day 3, Sunday, March 1. The grand final and closing ceremony will be held at the Executive Pavilion, Royal Asmore and Brandon Street, where the winners will be crowned. This year's edition marks a significant expansion, featuring 60 students from 6 counties. Participants will compete in 5 categories from the Holy Quran. Categories include full Quran, 20 juzu, 15 juzu, 10 juzu, and 5 juzu. Beyond the spiritual awards, the competition offers substantial incentives to participants and support educational journey to the participants. A cash prize of 1,500 USD will be awarded to the winner. Additional prizes include educational scholarships, academic materials, recognition awards, and certificates. This competition is about more than prizes. It is about nurturing characters, strengthening faith, and motivating the next generation to embody the values of the Holy Quran.
Alpha Jallo is a board member of the Liberian National Quranic Competition. Yes, speaking. The Minister of Justice, Councillor Oswald, that's the Minister of Justice, Councillor Oswald Twe has called for responsible leadership, measurable outcomes, and stronger interinstitutional collaboration as the country advances its rule of law agenda for 2026. Delivering remarks at the Pillow 3 Rule of Law Working Group meeting held at the Ministry of Justice, Minister Twe stressed that reform must be grounded in clarity, practical action, and accountability. The meeting focused on reviewing year one priorities and setting practical, results-driven targets for 2026 under the government rule of law framework. He stressed that discussion must move beyond rhetoric and center for deliverable actions and produce tangible impact. We'll bring you that abstract in our subsequent newscast. At the same time, the head of the Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force, Councillor Clark Martin, has expressed government readiness to pursue what he termed conversion of public assets to personal use. Speaking to reporters minutes after the lower court ruling, Clark Martin noted that the ruling have given the Asset Recovery team all legal rights to collect all documents regarding the establishment of the Clark Ho Foundation.
This is a ruling that has set an example on this particular case of conversion, criminal conversion of government assets. So we are prepared, no matter where to go, we will follow the law legally.
Has your investigation actually been against the former first lady, or is it because of the foundation? Because I think that was one point.
You were in the court and you listened to the ruling of the court, you listened to their argument, you listened to our argument. And the court decided to rule based upon the argument that we put forward and based upon the law that we cited. They are taking appeal to the Supreme Court, and we are prepared to go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is not an institution that will put fighting to us. We are prepared to go there legally because we have qualified lawyers that can go to the Supreme Court and argue our case. We argue our case legally and properly before the lower court and lower court rule. To go to the Supreme Court, we'll equally go to the Supreme Court. We are just on procedural issue now, but the public know that the matter is at its finality, and we will act inconsistent with the law. The Liberian people will celebrate and make sure that all assets that have been under conversion from government, a lot of budget, will go back to the Liberian court. That is our reason, and that is the condition for which I think what we need to do now is to start acting inconsistent with what the court rule. And but I think today is a good day for Liberia that the court managed to rule that all assets that have been converted through the acts of other people using government assets and government resources. The courts are ruled now that it is our responsibility to make sure that we collect all the documents and all those instruments that are relating to that conversion and make sure we conduct our criminal investigation. There are more cases, as I stated in one of our press releases. We have 40 cases on our docket that have to do with former officials that were involved into looting government resources, government assets, and what have you.
He's the head of the Assets Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force, Councillor Clark Martin. They're speaking. Just before we go back to this story set the pace. The Board of Trustees of Phoebe Hospital has condemned recent go-slow action staged by the grief staff, further calling for their immediate return to regular duties. The board statement comes following an engagement meeting between the government through the Ministry of Health and the workers on Tuesday. During the meeting, Health Minister Dr. Louis Poto appealed to the grief employees to resume work, assuring them that their grievances will be addressed within 1 week. The workers agreed to comply with the minister's request. The protest began Tuesday morning with staff citing salary disparities on that's unsanitary working conditions, administrative lapses, and harsh working environments, among others.
I have come on behalf of the Ministry of Health and the government to tell you that we understand the legitimate concerns that you have. Everything that you said, you are right. We as health workers, when we are discouraged, they will become demoralized. Into work, it becomes difficult. I've also come as a health worker. I'm not here as the Minister of Health. I'm an OBGYN, and I'm passionate about maternal health. So I've come to appeal to you. Let us go back to work. I usually tell my students when I was teaching that our mistake goes in the grave. Our strike actions goes in the grave. That's how important we are as health workers. The accountant can tell you I'm not working today. He can keep those books. After 1 week, he can go back and he can make sure those books come to pass to what it should be. But you and myself, when we leave the world, we have children, we have women, we have our family members that are raised. So our mistake, our actions, or even inactions, takes our patients to the grave. And that's the level of God has given us His chosen one, His creator, His creation, to be able to manage. And that's a huge responsibility that we as health workers have. So please, everything you said, you are right. I saw some videos on Facebook. It was appalling to see the sanitation. I understand, I've been there before. I know what it is. So everything you said, you are 100% right, and you have my full support. At the same token, please, I will look into everything that you have said.
Health Minister Dr. Louis Poto there speaking. And away from Liberia, Zimbabwe has rejected U.S. deal that will have provided $367 million and funded over 5 years because of Washington's demand for sensitive data. The decision has come to light after the government memo from December was leaked, revealing that President Emmerson Mnangagwa felt the deal was lopsided. The government spokesperson has since explained that the U.S. was demanding access to biological samples for research and commercial gain, but said it was not willing to share the benefits for future vaccines and treatments. The UN Security Council has announced new sanctions for 4 leaders of Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces over atrocities committed in the western Sudanese city of El Fasher. The Deputy Commander Abdul Hamdan Dankoli and Brigadier General Afata Abdullah Adris, more commonly called Abdul Lulu, who became known as the Butcher of El Fasher, are among those prescribed. Others are RSF Deputy Commander Jidot Hadam Ahmed and Field Commander Tijani Ibrahim. The RSF capture of the city in October was one of the most brutal chapters of Sudan's nearly 3-year civil war. Last week, a UN fact-finding mission concluded that the violent takeover bore and hallmarks of a genocide. On that note, I would like to go home this evening on this edition of the program King's News, bring a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest afterward. But just before we go home this evening, let's remind you of stories we've been following. Over 12,000 students graduated from the University of Liberia during 105th graduation on Wednesday. UEL President Dr. Lady Mapayan urges graduates to use acquired education to impact national development drive. Former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf calls for the incorporation of anti-corruption education into primary and secondary school curricula to promote public awareness and strengthen national efforts in combating corruption. The Congress for Democratic Change National Executive Committee suspends United States branch interim leadership for gross insubordination, violation of the party protocol, and detrimental actions, says any parallel convention in Minnesota will be rendered illegal. Away from Liberia, Zimbabwe has rejected a U.S. health deal that will have provided $367 million in funding over 5 years because of Washington's demand for sensitive data. The UN Security Council has announced new sanctions for 4 leaders of Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces over atrocities committed in the western Sudanese city of El Fasher. These are stories we closely follow here this evening against Newsroom. I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped in making this package. Our sources, Marvin Var was here with the news bulletin, while Sam Andrews sat at controls and coordinated the sounds. On behalf of the entire production and management team, my name is Newton Tupa. Thanks for listening and watching. Good evening.